What are some of the things you see as beneficial to bringing students from West Virginia here to Quebec?
Sure. Well, I remember when I was their age going to a study abroad program, and it was the first time I had been out of the country, and I just remember how excited I was to just see how other people, how they spoke, how they viewed the world from a non-U.S. centric perspectives. To go into the grocery store and see how food was arranged and the things that they called it. And I was so excited because I knew that some of our students hadn't left the country. Maybe this was their first time on an airplane. And just so really looking forward to seeing them experience Quebec through their eyes.
We could go anywhere in the world, but why do you think this is a good place?
Why Quebec?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, just from a practical standpoint, it's pretty accessible to Americans. We can fly there fairly easily. We can drive if we want to. It's not such a culture shock. Like, it's still somewhat familiar. But I think the exciting thing about Quebec, first of all, is to just, again, to step over a border and all of a sudden people are expressing their thoughts in a completely different language. You may or may not have studied the French language, but you're still going to get something from that, even if going from the most simple expressions of just how do you greet a shopkeeper by saying bonjour. You're looking at signs and things that have a context, and you're able to go, oh, chocolate, chocolat, or oh, ice cream, glace.
Right.
So we're both North American countries, of course, but Quebec has such a unique history. It's not just that it's a separate. It's not just that it's a separate country, Canada. It really has its own unique history within Canada of itself. And we were lucky enough to have various cultural opportunities, including the guide who led us through the history of the Plains of Abraham, where there was a decisive battle where power switched from French to British hands back in the mid 1700s. So, and then of course in Quebec you have a big city. Like the one that we're in right now, Montreal, that's grandiose and has all kinds of cultural opportunities and restaurants and just different things that you can do. You've got still a good-sized city, Quebec, where we can do things and even go off for a waterfall adventure, or still just travel the old city.
Talk a little bit about using Quebec as a sort of a base for teaching French, either bringing students down here like what we have who don't have, maybe have never studied French, and maybe even students that have some French.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a wonderful place to learn it because you're completely immersed in it. Not that there are, of course, if you need to speak some English, there are people who understand it. Just experiencing the city by walking around, the experience of going to a restaurant and learning from the food on the menu to going to the grocery store. So Quebec really has a lot to offer, and as I mentioned before, it's fairly accessible to us.